Well, hello guys, welcome to week 12 at Nathbet.com. I said we're going to have big profits coming sooner rather than later, and that's exactly what we delivered last weekend with a beautiful 11.5 to 1 fourfold. I hope you're still counting your profits. I know that I'm going to spend them in Vegas this weekend. Let me know right into Facebook, let us know on Twitter what you're doing with yours. If you backed it to a £10 stake, you're probably looking at about £115, £120 back. Unfortunately, we should have had our double that came in as well. Chelsea taking the lead at home to Liverpool. I said Luis Suarez was the only one that could spoil the party, and that's exactly what it did with the equaliser. Otherwise, it would have been an absolutely huge week at Nathbet. But nevertheless, an 11.5 1 fourfold is very, very nice. But we are greedy here. We want plenty more profits and we want them soon, and that's exactly what we're going to do this week for you. Okay, guys, straight on to the double this week. First of all, I like Newcastle United. Now, they entertained Swansea at home. We backed Newcastle last week in the double, and they did not deliver, unfortunately. A few things didn't go their way on the day, but really, looking back at the game, they didn't really deserve too much than the maybe a draw. But West Ham beat them 1-0 on the day, and fair enough. Sam Allardyce going back to his old club and getting the business done. Swansea are struggling though. I mean, Newcastle have got injuries and they've got a couple of suspensions. Demba Ba played 90 minutes, which, okay, he didn't score, but at least he played 90 minutes. He should be back to near enough full fitness this weekend. There's doubts over Papa Cisse. Swansea, though, haven't won a game, crazily enough. They've only won one game since August. And St James's Park going there, I think that Alan Pardew will have his men sorted out from last weekend. I fully expect them to turn this around, and I think they will get the win. Newcastle are still available at even money, so we're going to take them, along with Nottingham Forest to complete our double this weekend. Now, Nottingham Forest have had a couple of really good results lately without winning. They had a really admirable 0-0 draw at home to Middlesbrough. Then they went to Leicester last weekend away from home and drew 2-2. Now, Nottingham Forest have got an excellent squad. If you only have to look at their bench to see how good they are. They're back at home at the county ground, and I think a team like Sheffield Wednesday, who we backed to lose last week to Middlesbrough, that's exactly what they did. They were poor. I think Jay Butherwood apart, I think that they're going to be struggling this season. Nottingham Forest, I fully expect them to get a win, get 3 points on the board. And evens is a really good price. I would expect them to be odds on, but evens is great. We're going to take them too. So the double, Newcastle and Nottingham Forest, gives us a 2.8 to 1 double, 2.7 to 1 with Coral and Bet365. You get a little bit better with Pinnacle, but I know that quite a few people haven't got that betting service. Remember, get your bets on through Nathbet. You do not need to click away from the screen. All the betting sites are there for you. Click on it, put your bets on. Remember, if you have not taken advantage of that Sky Bet yet that I said last week, I know plenty of you did, but if you haven't already, subscribe, become a brand new user. They will give you £10 absolutely free without you even depositing any money whatsoever. You can put that money on straight away, and then from then on, £5 each and every week for the £5 you bet on. It's absolutely fantastic offer. Basically, if you do that for a month, you're going to spend £20, you're going to get £30 worth of free bets. Absolutely magnificent. Make sure that you do that. Okay, on to the treble. Cardiff City were backing. They did us proud last week when they beat Hull. I think they're going to win again. This time they've got a trickier game. They're at home to Middlesbrough, who are absolutely flying. We tipped them last weekend in our double and our fourfold, and of course they came through for us too. However, I don't think they're going to win this week. I think Cardiff are going to get the better of them at home. I'll give you a couple of reasons why. First of all, Middlesbrough don't travel particularly well. They've improved that record this season, but they're still not great travellers. 2, Jonathan Woodgate came off injured halfway through that Sheffield Wednesday game. He's a huge part of what Middlesbrough do and how Middlesbrough are going to go forward and get promoted, which I think they will do. But places like Cardiff City, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for them. Josh McCracken came off for England under-21s this week. The Chelsea guy, he's been absolutely superb for them as a playmaker role. He's very, very doubtful to play the weekend, and if he does, he's still going to have a niggle. He's not going to be 100% fit. That's enough for me to go with Cardiff. They're 15 to 13, so just odds against, and we're going to take Cardiff at home this week, along with Swindon to beat Yeovil. Yeovil's another one we tipped last week to win. They beat who did they beat? They beat Hartlepool, sorry. They beat Hartlepool at home. A little bit of an early one. They won 1-0. They weren't completely out of the water. I thought it'd be 2 or 3-0, but it wasn't. Still, they got the job done for us. However, Swindon Town, they got knocked out of the FA Cup, home to Macclesfield, but don't let that fool you. Paolo Di Canio is going for promotion. That's what he wants out of League One. He wants to go back to back from League Two straight up to the Championship. They'll be fired up for this game. Swindon available at 4 to 6, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take them at 4 to 6 along with Cardiff. And the third team in our treble, Queen's Park Rangers. Queen's Park Rangers, incredibly, have still not got a win in the Premier League this season, and Mark Hughes is still in the job. I don't know which is more crazy. We backed them to beat Reading at home last week. They didn't do that. They could only manage one more draw. Although Gabriel Cisse did score, and he's going to be a very important part if they are going to do anything this season. Now they're playing Southampton. We all know about Southampton. We've backed them plenty of times to lose this season already. They've done just that. They've had a couple of better results lately, but if Queen's Park Rangers are ever going to win a game, and I know I said that this week, if they're ever going to win a game at home against Southampton, they're going to do it this weekend. 5 to 6 QPR available at. I'm going to take them as the third team in our treble. That's Cardiff, Swindon and QPR. Gives us a 7.5 to 1 treble with Bet365 and Coral. 2.5 points recommendation for the double this week, guys. 1.5 points for the treble. Going on to the fourfold, I'm going to recommend a 1.4 fold this week. 2 teams in the Premier League who are away from home, who we are backing. First of all, Everton, absolutely flying. Superlatives can't describe how well they're playing at the moment, especially Fellaini. He's been absolutely magnificent. Pinar's back as well now. I just think that going to Reading, yeah, Reading are better at home than they are away for sure, but they should have too much for them. 5 to 6, Everton are a really good price. I'm going to take them along with Chelsea. Cost us last week, but we go straight back on with them. I know they've got players away on international duty, but we're going to hope that the quality comes through this weekend. They've got a tricky game away at West Brom this week. Of course they have. West Brom very good at home. However, they're even money, and I know they'll be hurting from last week. And if they are going to make a decent challenge in this title race, then they've got to go and win games like that. Even money, we're going to put them in our fourfold. Now into the Championship. 2 teams in the Championship will complete the fourfold. 1, Bolton Wanderers. They face Barnsley. Bolton have been excellent, really good recently. Cardiff, Leicester City and Blackpool, they are undefeated in those games, won 1, drawn 2. Those are 3 teams that will be there or thereabouts come the end of the season in the promotion race. Barnsley struggle, and they struggle badly away from home. You know, they tipped them to lose to Hull a couple of weeks ago. They did just that. They're really struggling, and with a new manager as well in Dougie Freedman at Bolton Wanderers, it's just all on a high there. The Reebok Stadium is not an easy place to go and play, and at 7 to 12 we're going to take Bolton to win that game and win that game comfortably. Last tip of the week, the 4th game in our fourfold. Dougie Freedman's ex-side, actually, the one he moved to, who are top of the Championship table at the moment, and that's why we're picking them, because they are flying. Crystal Palace entertain Derby County. Now Crystal Palace, like you say, they've just absolutely been magnificent last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, result after result after result, whether they go behind, whether they're in front, they're just keeping those leads, and fair dues to them. Like I said, we pick teams on form here at Nathbet, and Crystal Palace at home definitely fits that bill. Derby County, a Jekyll and Hyde side. You don't know what you're going to get from them. They can be brilliant one day, they can be terrible the next. We're backing them to be, even if they play well, we're backing them to lose at Crystal Palace. I do think they're playing with so much confidence at the moment that I think they're going to be too much for Derby County. They're available at 15 to 13. So just to recap the fourfold, which is a 1.4 fold. Everton away to beat Reading, Chelsea away to beat West Brom, Bolton at home to beat Barnsley, Crystal Palace at home to beat Derby. 10.5 to 1 fourfold, guys. Get stuck in. Pinnacle, that is, with 9.7 to 1 fourfold with Bet Victor and Coral. Like the bets this week, loved them last week, still like them this week. Maybe not as much, but definitely better than previous weeks. So, like I said, 2.5 points for the double, 1.5 points for the treble, and a 1 point for the fourfold. Enjoy it, guys. I think we're going to have some profits again going into week 13. I'm looking for some, not for Nathbet. Remember, there's Pete's long shot as well. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Get those bets on. Bye-bye.